I wanted to share.
Calm down, boys. Calm down.
I wanted to share something before we start this. Nearly every day, and nearly all day today, I spend with people on the phone talking about why they don't want to participate, why it's not possible for them to come. And I get that there's an impact on me about that. I got today quite disempowered. And I'm transforming that. And I had like coaching call after coaching call after coaching call today. And what I'm standing for is the transformation of humanity. That includes New Mexico, but I am an international person. I love to see this work thrive in the Middle East, Africa, as far as I'm going to do an announcement of the Middle East for you in a few minutes. But I have it that New Mexico can thrive, and there was a time when I was a young graduate in the 1990s, early 2000s, when there was not enough room to be hired, to be gotten in a hotel. We used to go to the Sheraton. We used to have conferences and seminars at the Pyramid so many times. It's like a lot of big events, but venues, right? But what I wanted to say is this: I got that everything in my life is about participating. And I want you to take on where you are, that just for the fact that you are here. I want to thank you for being here, and I want to thank you for participating in your life. Because what we do here goes beyond what happens here. What happens here goes beyond your family and your relationships. The impact of who you are, and you don't even see who you are, the greatness that you are, goes way beyond. And wherever you show up, a person shows up that is willing to put away what's in your way to participate in life. And that's why I want to thank you for being here tonight. From my heart. Thank you. And it's really a choice, right? I mean, it's a choice whether you want to participate in something or not. And by the way, we're going to whitewater raft Saturday with you.
You're coming too?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's nice.
I'm going to fly up from the ranch. I have to be on Friday, and then fly up and be there at house Saturday morning and whitewater raft. Cool. Right. So,
And that invitation is open to you?
and I want to say that anything's possible. Anything is possible if you're willing to take it on for yourself. And the ripple effect of that's going to be that Mike is going to have a totally new experience in the SLP classroom on Sunday, and I'm going to have a totally different experience showing property on Monday morning, right? So I want to thank you for making that possible and really edging me into giving up what's in my way of participating. I don't know who's doing that, but all right. No, that's the thing. Like we live our lives with greatness, and it ripples and it engages others to look at their lives and go like, how am I living my life? If Andy can do it, why can't I do it?
That's why it's you. You can do it. Why can't I?
Yeah. So we all do that, right? So thank you. And you can see underneath your chair there is a sheet. And why not get into that conversation right away? So, the next seminar is going to be the landmark form in action. And I've requested the landmark form in action because, first of all, we haven't had it, and we've had a lot of new graduates that have never had the landmark form in action. But I tell you what, I've been in this work since 1995. I don't know even how long that is. I can't count it anymore. And I love to get refreshed on the distinctions of the landmark form. There's something about getting a refresher for yourself that brings it back, brings something back alive. So on every day of your life, as you're in the seminar, you're going to practice the distinction that we had in the last session. That's directly out of the form. So it's not like a woo-woo experience that you're going to have today. It's actually a real life experience. And not that this conversation is not about real life and transforming real life, but it's advanced. It's an advanced conversation. And so I urge you, and I request that all of you stand for the whole community coming back into participating in the seminar. Santa Fe, Farmington, Espanola, Las Cruces, El Paso, Silver City, sorry? Silver City, Tattle, New Mexico. And so we're going to call everyone that we know in our circle, our inner circle, and invite them to participate in the landmark forum, to bring the landmark forum back. Yes, Lydia?
Is this open online to register yet, or
It is.
No, it is open to register online, and so you can do that, and you're also going to be registering next week. But what I'd like to invite you for is to bring whoever you know to session 8 and have them put down that they want to be in this forum, in the forum in action, in the seminar.
This is section.
This is session 8, no, session 9, I wanted to say, sorry. So session 9 next week. Bring whoever you know that's a graduate who you haven't seen in a while. Even from the last seminar, I can think of at least 10 people that I'm going to be inviting from the last seminar that have either gone on vacation during the summer or they took the SELP or whatever it is, and had other courses going on, and bring them into and invite them into participation in the next seminar. That New Mexico has an opportunity like no other for growth. And having 40 people in the room or 30 people in the room as we have today is awesome. And I want to thank you again for being here. And it's not a working seminar, not working as a seminar. SELPs at 35 or 40 work. Seminars are created by the conversations of the community in the seminar, and the community in the seminar creates the seminar. You guys create the seminar. It is your seminar. I'm bringing forth a topic of conversation, and then you bring it in. That's the idea of seminars. Because our work is not about learning. Our work is about what? And how does that happen? From experience.
Oh, yeah.
And how great is that? Today we're going to talk about experience. All evening long. So take this with you and make sure that you look at your calendars about the dates, see whether you can make these dates. We're going to be done before Christmas. And share this with every person that you know is a graduate. Please. Will you? Who's taking it on? Thank you. Yeah.
I came into this session saying that I was going to take a break from landmark for a while, feeling like I need to regroup, and I'm tired and exhausted. I know that's not language of landmark, so on, but so I was like, well, I wonder what that topic is going to be that we're going to get proposed. And I thought, well, as appealing as it's going to sound, I'm going to reject it. Just because I don't want to claim this time for myself. And then when this just got proposed right now, I thought, this is for me a missing link in this training, because that 3-day seminar was so intense.
Mm-hmm.
And you come out and you're quite spun around and discombobulated, and a lot of things are shifting, and you've got certain things better than others.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, there's plenty of things that I felt that I kind of got, but not quite.
In this seminar, you talked about.
No, I'm talking about the forum.
Yeah, okay.
So, to be able to expand on the forum deeply, I think is, as much as I wanted to take a break and rehearse, all my excuses and everything, I'm thinking, to me, this is such a powerful thing to reinforce the foundational training that I have to do it. I have to do it.
Thank you so much. Andy, you want to say something to that? You raised your hand? Or
I did raise my hand twice, because what's coming to me is, okay, sorry, Sam. So what's coming to me is like, why not review the forum before the act?
That's a great idea. That's what I was thinking about doing, because there's a forum right before, like the weekend before it starts.
That would be a great idea, yeah. So I invite you to do that too, yeah.
And it's like a super deal, isn't it? We get like a deal on that, we get a seminar.
Yeah, you're gonna get it for free.
I can't say anything to this.
The seminar is free, not the forum.
Tuition is half price, and you pay for the seminar, but you're a reviewer, so you get the.
No.
You do get the seminar.
You get the seminar when you review the forum, yeah.
So it's like you pay a little extra money and you get the
The form and the
And the seminar, yes.
A little more money.
The form is September 24th to 6th, right? And then there's one in August as well. And someone looked it up on your phone. When's the next seminar? Yeah, Patrick, you already know.
There's sometime coming up, forum for reviewers.
We were working on it, we're on the list, but we haven't gotten there yet.
I got it, all right.
Yeah, and we are. And that is an awesome way of reviewing as well. I can't be in enough forums, to be honest. I always get something new about the distinction for myself. Yeah.
I was in introduction leader for 11 and a half years, and part of our agreement as introduction leaders is that you review the program forum. So I don't know, I think I've reviewed it about 8 times, so something like that. Because that would, anyway, I think that altogether it's been about 9 times. And it's every single time. It's fabulous. And I'm going to review the advanced course on assigned 10, 11, 13. So, oh, yay! Yay! That's great. Yeah.
Awesome, thank you.
The Landmark Forum in Phoenix, September 27th. And then, well, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then, and it's also in August 23rd. So,
August what?
23rd. August 23rd, that's September 27th. Then Denver, 1 second. August 9th, so you can go this week, but it's full. September 27th, so the same, pick your planet. And then the next one is in November. So August and September.
All right, thank you. So let's create the intentions of the session, the seminar, and the intentions of the night. The intentions of the night. Who'd like to do it? Anyone else see it? And, somebody else. Yeah. Go with it. Okay.
No.
Okay.
Want both of them?
Just
Just all of them. The Creating Happiness Seminar.
Yes.
The sheer joy of being alive. The intention of the seminar is to radically develop your capacity at any time and under any circumstance to have a say in your experience of life and to blow the roof off living true to your transformation. The intention of tonight's session, disrupting your certainty that experience is a reaction to life.
Excellent.
Encore.
I looked up radically because it's kind of a hot word in the sense, isn't it? Like, what really maybe? It is defined as thoroughly. Thorough.
Wow. The root of radically has to do with the root, comes from the root.
Yeah.
Radical is
So rootedly or fundamentally. Fundamentally, yeah. So fundamentally develop your capacity. Or fundamentally, rootedly develop your capacity at any time and circumstance. To create your life, to have a say in the experience of your life and to show your transformation. So, what I want to start with today is reviewing or recapping, looking at session number 7, last session. Some of you played full out and you blew the roof off your transformation and in your life and shared, invited people, and somebody even came as a guest. That was awesome, so I want to acknowledge that. And then some of you played full out and blew the roof off your transformation. And you invited people and they didn't come. And I want to thank you for that too. And then some of you didn't invite, didn't want to blow the roof off of anything, but you attended session 7, and I want to thank you for having been here. And then there are people who didn't invite and didn't attend session 7, and I'm not going to thank you for that. But I also don't want to make you wrong about that. It's a choice, right? But I hope that you see that the opportunity of sharing yourself and inviting wasn't the only one for a community event. We still have 2 sessions left. And we still have 2 sessions to actually create a new community forum. And everybody who comes here actually as a guest inside of this seminar and takes the Landmark Forum on its official will also be sponsored into the Landmark Forum Action, which is great for those who just take Landmark Forum, right? So I invite you to keep playing full out. And what the distinction of the session in session number 7 was taking the but out of your life. 3-letter word but. And replacing it with what? And. So say something that is not working for you or you can't do because I want to go on vacation, but I don't have time. I want to go on vacation, but I don't have time. And I want to go on vacation, and I don't have time. Which one is more powerful? Which one gives you access to action? Yeah. I wanted to go rafting, but I had to be on the ranch on Friday because we're getting hay, and then on Monday I'm showing property out there. But I had all these reasons why I couldn't go. And then I said to myself, I want to go rafting. And I don't have time. And I looked at it and go like, that's a total lie. So the but is a total lie. Because whatever comes before the but and what comes after the but, we have it to be connected. And it is never connected. You could also say like, I wanna get married, but my shoes are untied. Or I want more money, but I'm hungry. Or I want a new job, but my kids just left me. Or whatever, so they're like the but's totally unrelated to the sentence after the but is usually always totally unrelated from the sentence that stands before the but. And if you're willing to disconnect the two, then you have an opportunity to create something. Create an experience. It's all about moving yourself up to creating your experience. And that's what we're going to be working on today, very deeply. So, I invite you to keep on playing full out, invite people into this community, and share yourself. Don't be stingy about that. So, turn to your partner and share whatever you have to say to be complete about last session. And so everybody has a partner, and I'll give you 2 minutes each.
Yeah.
inform you about this evening. Graduates of Dubai have requested and Landmark has accepted and has scheduled the first Landmark Forum to be offered in the United Arab Emirates in Dubai. The days of the Landmark, the world is changing. The world
They have a Sri Lankan seminar leader, and he's constantly a job away from India. And still, Denmark hasn't done it.
Well, it will happen. Seminar deals will make it happen.
I've tried quite a bit.
Okay, cool. You can, it's up to the community.
I'm sorry, I can't, I'm here. Somebody has to be there. To do it.
Okay, well, there are ways. There are ways. There's timing. Building swimming pools is one way to start, right? So we haven't had a Landmark Forum in water yet. But anyway, the dates of the Landmark Forum are October 24th, 25th, and 26th, and the evening of the 28th, and you'll notice that it starts on the Thursday. Our being able to offer the Landmark Forum for the first time ever in this part of the world is a function of the graduates everywhere sharing the forum. And we especially want to acknowledge the graduates from Dubai who have been sharing the forum with the people in their lives. If you have people in this part of the world that you would like to have registered in the forum or have any questions regarding the forum, please contact Kate Usha, Beatrice. We have someone.
Do we? It's like,
Barbara. Or Yasemin. Tengiz. In the International Department of the London Center. And the phone number of the London Center is 44207969 2020.
It is on WhatsApp or Viber.
Monica and I led an introduction in Germany a couple of visits back at our son's communication school that he teaches at. And I was cleared for the introduction by a seminar leader of Venice in Dubai. And I can't find his number, but he's the guy who told me on the phone when I was being cleared, and I will bring the Landmark Forum to Dubai, and I'm going to seminar in Dubai. 1 year later, it's here. 1 year later, he did that. And I'm going to find him through this number, through these people, and I'm going to have a conversation with him for them. So, do you have someone in that area? So the dates are October 24, 25, 26, and 28. In Dubai, United Arab Emirates. Oh, come on, that's pretty cool.
Is it English or?
It's in English.
What's the tuition?
650. Or, let's say, or 2 barrels of oil. Second announcement, and this announcement many of you have heard before, but as it is policy, during each seminar series we have those announcements, and this announcement is about personal coaching. And who has ever taken on personal coaching? Yeah. And would one of you like to share what it was like for you? What you got out of it? Yes. Yeah, Mike.
So I still have a personal coach. And as a lot of you know, I've used as a mentor things I want to develop. And my goal with my coach is to have her support me in achieving that. And what she does almost exclusively is listen to me. It's an interesting application of landmark technology. She doesn't tell me what to do. She doesn't give me tasks. She doesn't do anything like that. She just listens to me. If I say I have a goal, she writes it down. And then she'll ask me occasionally if I've achieved it, or how I plan to achieve it, or what I'm going to do. But she's mostly just listening to me, and it's a very powerful listening. Listening to somebody who doesn't have an agenda for you except for you to accomplish what you say you're going to accomplish. And it, on the one hand, it's subtle, but it seems to be effective. It allows me to be actually more relaxed about achieving the things I've set out to. There's a lot less make wrong, there's a lot less beating myself up, there's a lot less internal dialogue, that kind of stuff. So it's, I've been really well.
Yeah, thank you. The coaching that's offered in the personal coaching division is like no other coaching in Landmark, where you as the participant create a future, then look back from that future and create the pathway to fulfill that future. Imagine for a moment an area of your life where you are not currently fulfilled or satisfied. So, does everyone have at least one area? Can you think of one area that doesn't fulfill you or you're satisfied? Who doesn't? Right? There's everyone has an area. Like, are you totally satisfied, Nora? In all areas of your life, nothing's wrong, nothing's missing. Well, but yeah, there's always something there that can be developed, right? So imagine that area completely fulfilled, just in such a way that it has your heart sing. If in that area you would be so fulfilled that you'd have your heart sing. Yay, I can't stand how this is going. Imagine that all areas of your life are so fulfilling and so awesome that your heart is in all areas of your life. With your mother, with your father, with your boss, with your children, all areas of your life. If there's one thing that you can think that is missing in an area of life that is important to you, personal coaching gives you a one-on-one coaching opportunity. So look at what is it that I would love to have happen, have be there in my life, so that my life would be so enormously fulfilling that my heart would sing just like, oh my God, I can't stand it. So, personal coaching takes place on the phone, correct? You pick the time, you pick the duration. It's weekly, right? It's supposed to be a weekly call, so if you go on vacation then there's going to be an interruption, but other than that it's a weekly call. And you're going to be coached by the 10 most awesomest personal coaches that Landmark has created. There are 10 people in the world that coach people in the world unworthy as personal coaches. And my coach, my present coach is Andrea Parker Swenson in Phoenix, and she is not only a seminar leader, but she's also a personal coach, one of the 10. And I get the best coaching in the world. I get someone who listens so thoroughly to what's being said that the way I'm speaking has altered actually over time. You know, I just visited a friend in Albuquerque who I hadn't seen for a couple of years. And she said, have you had a stroke? And I said, no, I don't think so. And she said, you speak so differently from who you used to, from how you used to speak. You know, you speak slowly and you speak clearly and you don't babble along like you used to. And she's a speech pathologist, right? So she must know. The first thing she notices. And that's from the coaching that I get in that one. I said, it's my coaching. That's what I get out. So the program goes for 3 months, for 6 months, or a year. And the tuition is $2,800. Well worth spending. So I highly recommend that if you're interested, you put your name down on one of those interest cards. Do you have those cards ready, guys? And raise your hand if you'd like to get more information, if you'd like to get a call from one of those 10 people. And it's not about accepting anything, but really finding out what's possible for you in that area. I would like to know.
How many sessions do you get for the? How many sessions do you get? I mean.
Oh, weekly. It's 3 months, so it's like, following you, because it's 12 sessions, right? Yeah, it would be 12 sessions. Maybe 50, 60 sessions for $2,800.
I think it's 10, 20, or 40.
10, 20, or 40?
So there's 3 prices. I think for $2,800, you get 10 sessions.
10 sessions. Okay.
Because it's the expectation there'll be weeks that you don't get together.
Okay. So who'd like to get it? Any more information? Any new people that have never talked to a personal coach?
Last question.
Yeah.
Can you still get the freebie?
I don't know. You can ask her.
Because I did it, I got a freebie.
How did you
try it out?
No,
Anybody can do it. They'll give you, you can get a
Oh,
free
just
session.
one session?
Yes,
Yeah.
like a half hour or something.
Most probably, yes, yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
it used to be that the invitation of interest, if you are interested, you can have a half-hour section.
Okay.
With one of the coaches. You put your name down and then.
You have a half-hour session.
Right.
You
That's,
can-
I did that at
You can
least
taste
twice.
it. It's well worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if you can't afford it, but then maybe they'll have you to understand that you could afford it.
It's like, I wanna take the personal coaching on, but I don't have the money.
Right.
Or you could say, I wanna take personal coaching in an area of life, whatever area that is that you choose, and I don't have the money. Then you look at, well, by when will you have the money, and then take the personal coaching. But in the meantime, you find out about the personal coaching, it's awesome. Just do it. Go ahead. So who else? Anybody else? Claire? Anybody else? Okie dokie, thank you. Awesome. Anybody else changing their mind? This is an informational call, right? Okay, so it's not like that. It's an opportunity.
When you said it, but, and then you said the and.
It made a difference, didn't it? Yeah. Just so many times we shut ourselves out of an opportunity that's right in front of us because of the button. And what's your experience when you have like a button in your space? It can be good, right? It's not biology. Okay. Your assignment from last session was designed to give you an opportunity to what? To continue to move yourself up the scale of experiencing. That was the assignment for session number 6. Session number 7 had that as well, plus some other assignments to deal with. But we've said that this is not about changing disempowerment or fixing disempowerment. Remember the empowerment and disempowerment exercise that we did?
Yes.
That was why you were in Italy, Nora. So it was not about changing disempowerment, and it was not about fixing empowerment. It's not about disempowerment being something wrong, or something that you have to work on, or something you have to fix. You gotta fix being disempowered. Disempowerment is a state that stands on its own. You have a say on the future and the kind of actions that you take in the state of disempowerment. Your assignment was to continue to bring empowerment to your commitments in life. See, the way you get present to that, to disempowered, obviously it's an area of life that's of interest to you, right? You wouldn't be disempowered about something that you're not really caring on. Disempowerment is an area of life that's important to you, and you're interested in. And how do you create empowerment in a state of disempowerment? Remember? You look at what am I committed to? So you commit in, it's an area of your life, give me an example of an area of your life that you are disempowered right now. Anybody? Yeah, please.
Inviting people.
Inviting people.
Inviting people,
Disempowered
yes.
about inviting people. Yeah, very good. So now, look at what you're committed to.
Well, what I'm really committed to is that, I mean, what I'm really committed to, that kids, when they're really young in grade school, get the young people's language forum, all of it, so we can have a new world.
And so you're not committed to the elderly?
No, I'm also committed to the young people.
And you're not committed to high school kids?
I'm committed to everybody.
You're committed to everybody. Your neighbor?
Well, I really am committed to my neighbor and particularly the ones across the street who have refused to speak to me for the last at least year.
Okay, so you're committed to what? Create a relationship with your neighbor?
Well,
Or have you given up on it? You resigned about it?
yes, I would say I really resigned about it after several letters and phone calls, yes.
So you can see that you're actually committed to something, but it's just not working, right? It's not working. There's something in the way that you haven't gotten out of the way to have that work. Well, what it takes is it's like you can either choose to stay disempowered about that and do nothing, or you choose what you're committed to and then take action, and what that takes is being cause and the matter of what you're committed to. It's a simple game. It's simple. So that's how we got out of disempowerment and got ourselves empowered. So you were committed, you were requested to continue to letting it go. Disempowerment, letting it go. Letting it go by looking at what you're committed to. And to continue to experience your experience and to be aware of your experiential state. So, experience your experiences. Concept was what? Remember? What is the concept part? What does that concept stand for?
Because?
Story. You have judgment, evaluation, so the experience is concept. It's like, I experienced being disempowered with my neighbors because they haven't talked to me in 1 year. That's experiencing disempowerment as concept. Where we want to move ourselves up to is above the line, an experience beginning with experiencing as experience, which means with nothing attached. I'm disempowered with my neighbors. I'm disempowered about my neighbors. Not because they haven't spoken to me, I'm just disempowered. I'm disempowered. And once you have that ability to really discover, like having nothing about it, just like letting the disempowering be sink in, and having it be, you have an opportunity to share yourself with them and say like, hey, I'm disempowered. I don't want to really talk to you, but I really want to talk to you. So how are we going to do this, guys? Neighbors? Somebody starts like a communication, and all it takes is it's like not making anything wrong or having any expectations about it. Just go like, yeah, hi. So we have this neighbor on Roma who's been bugging us for like the last 5 years, since we've lived here 7 years now, about Monica practicing in an area where there's residential zoning, where she's inviting people for acupuncture in there. And so the board of directors of the community sat down and they allowed her to practice, so that's why she's practicing. But it's a once every year decision that's being made. That particular neighbor is extremely difficult to talk to. You say hello, you see him over there, like he's just across the street from us. Hello, good morning, and he goes like, I still say good morning. And but you can either dwell in a disempowerment or have it be just a disempowerment and continue to be who you're creating yourself to be around your neighbors. Create your experience around your neighbors. Okay, so who would like to share what you got out of that assignment? What did you get out of this whole exercise of empowerment and disempowerment and what developed? Naomi, you wanted to share, and then Julie.
It just reminded me that I did that and I didn't realize it.
You want to share with all of us? Thank you.
So I was at Fawn Star Sunday after my dance class getting some tea. And it was really crowded. There was a line there. And I saw somebody I know who I participated with, a young woman, 24. And we hugged, and then she said, "Hi, Teresa." And she saw Teresa over there. Well, Teresa, it's like your neighbor. I did there was a complaint about Teresa within my group. And I said, this will not be. We're all together on this. And so I'm going to offer myself as being a mediator between Teresa and a woman named Alex, who was running for office, and just be a stand that they get back into relationship. And so we met at the Flying Star one morning before people got there, and Teresa was late, so there wasn't a whole lot of time to accomplish what I wanted to accomplish. But at the end, all I said to them was that I was trained, and I'm not trained in the area of mediation, but I'm trained in the area of making peace and reconciliation. And so they got to the point where at the end I said, what can you acknowledge each other for? And they did. Well, I experienced it as being a success, but Teresa won't look at me in any gathering, and I saw her at the Flying Star. So what I did was she came up to the gal in front of me and said hi. And I said, "Hi, Teresa, it's so good to see you." And I put my hand on her shoulder and said, "I heard you're having a fundraiser," and acknowledged her. And I wasn't phony, or I mean, I could be phony, to kind of create liking her. How can I say this? I could have been pretentious, and I chose not to be pretentious. I just chose to give her love. And this is what I made a promise to myself, that I will always love Teresa no matter what she thinks of me. And that I know that where her heart is, and I know where her stand is, and what she's about. And
that's commitment. That is the commitment.
And sometimes I'll feel forlorn after that happens, but I didn't. I felt very empowered by that experience.
Thank you. Yeah.
Well, I had a couple of things, and most of it was yesterday, and I really needed it because I was tired, and my client had been pretty harsh with me most of the day. Yeah. She wasn't feeling well, so I get a little beat up when she doesn't feel well. And so after dinner last night, she was very sweet to me. And I mean, I had told her, you can be as mean to me as you want to be, but I'm not going anywhere. I love you and I'm here to stay. So, if this makes you feel good, go for it. But it doesn't make me feel good. And if you want me to respect you, respect me. And so, she does this little thing. And after dinner, she was totally different. And I asked her husband, I said, I don't know what you said to her, but whatever you said to her, it worked. And he said, well, I just asked her about her day. And she was telling me she went to the doctor's. And I asked her, who took her to the doctor's? And she said, Julie. And he said, well, did you thank her for it? And she said, no. And he said, are you enjoying your hummingbirds? And she said, yes. And he said, well, who fills your hummingbird feeders? And she said, Julie. And he said, well, did you thank her for it? And she said, no. So then after dinner, she had like this long list of stuff she was thanking me for. And she gave me a hug and told me she loved me and that she was sorry, that she'd been rude and blah, blah, blah. But that felt really good. And it was like so much more empowering, and like the word thank you is so huge and it takes so little.
Yeah.
And her husband never lets us leave without feeling that we're very appreciated and saying thank you. But she rarely does it, and it was really nice to hear it come from her yesterday. And then the other thing that happened, I was texting with somebody, and they asked why I'm always taking all these self-help courses. And I said, well, I don't really think of it as self-help. I said, it's what I'm interested in. I work with people. And I said, you know, it always helps me to be able to expand on my, you know, my tools so I can work with people better. And I said, plus, I, you know, want to make the world a better place, and this is what I do. I said, you're interested in computers, but I'm not. This is what I'm interested in. And he actually said, well, we'll have to have a conversation about that. And it was like, wow, somebody actually wants to talk about that, and, you know, so anyway, it was kind of fun.
Yeah.
That instead of like me having to like explain myself and try to push something, somebody actually wanted to talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, share with your partner what opened up for you from having done your assignment, and I'll give you a minute each. Let's go.
Wrap it up and stop.
Okay, let's get into the seminar, shall we? We're now going to have a unique kind of conversation. In fact, we're about to have a conversation that is intended to give you a direct access to a fundamental aspect of living life true to your transformation. Part of the difficulty of this conversation is we really don't have the language to capture the nature of what you're about to engage in. We really don't have the language to capture the nature of what you're going to engage in. I wouldn't have that conversation with anybody. This conversation is so counterintuitive and so goes against common sense that I would only have this conversation with a graduate. You see, you're the kind of person who is willing to suspend what you know and believe to discover something about what's possible. Right? This conversation can't be understood. It flies in the face of common sense. You can only get what it makes available by a direct experience. In this conversation, you will have access to the highest level on the scale of experiencing, creating your experience. You will directly experience that you are not an object in a world of objects, but the space in which the world, others, and yourself occur. I'll say it again. In this, you will directly experience in this conversation that you're not an object in a world of objects, but a space in which the world, others, and yourself occur. How many of you have heard that, or something like that before? Yeah. Well, in this conversation, you're going to get it intimately. We said at session 1 that not being the author of your life or of the realm of experience was the fundamental missing in your transformation. Not being the author in your life or the realm of experience was the fundamental missing in your transformation. You can't live a transformed life if you're not authoring your life. You're not in charge of your life. Yeah. Now you have done the work where we can begin to make that real for you. Let's talk about what it's going to take on your part to accomplish directly experiencing what we call creating your experience. This exercise is going to have many levels in it. Each level will interconnect with the next level. You don't want to be concerned about what you get or didn't get in any aspect of the exercise. Rather, take whatever you get and trust that it will work out. The power of this conversation might not be readily available as you go through the process. Whatever registers you might have for how it's going for you will be of no real use to you. In fact, assessing how it is going along the way is counterproductive to what you're out to accomplish. Don't assess. You won't see fully what's there to get until the exercise is complete. For sure, you'll be likely confused at some point along the way, and likely part of the process of getting this is to go through confusion. Moreover, there will be a seductive lure to check out of this conversation. Remember, the pull is to go down the scale of experiencing. You're always pulled down the scale of experiencing. Equally as counterproductive will be for you to become fascinated with what's happening and what you're getting, what's happening in the room and what you're getting. And there's something you need to know so that you don't get stopped. At some point, things are going to sound contradictory to what you've heard before, especially in the seminar. It will sound contradictory. In fact, it will be contradictory because we are about to check through to a whole other level of the realm of experience. What will work best is really, really very simple. Follow the instructions and stay present to what's actually happening. For many of you, aspects of this conversation will seem like woo-woo. While the conversation may be way out there, the point of all this is an on-the-court, practical breakthrough in your ability to realize the intention of the seminar. Did you get this?
Can you say that again?
While the conversation may be way out there, the point of all this is on the court that you'll have a practical breakthrough in your ability to realize the intention of the seminar. The intention of the seminar, we can take it from this over again, was to radically enable you
To develop your capacity.
yeah.
Yeah,
Second. Radically develop your capacity at any time and under any circumstance to have a say in your experience of life and to blow the lid up, the roof up, living through your transformation. We're going to start with something very simple. Okay? Everyone take a moment and get present to yourself in your seat. Notice what's happening in your feet. Get comfortable, uncross your legs. Put them 8 inches apart. Exactly. Okay, relax. Notice what's happening in your chest. Now, everybody look up the ceiling. Don't strain your neck, but just look up to the ceiling, up at the ceiling. I'd like you to create an imaginary spot on the ceiling. It could be any color, imaginary, okay? Just create an imaginary spot in the ceiling. Any color. Could be blue, could be purple. Can we turn the lights off a little bit? Hard to look up the ceiling with these bright lights. That works. All right. Yes. So much more relaxing. We're gonna make that happen. Okay. Everybody has an imaginary spot at the ceiling. It can be any size. See it as really there. Okay, how many of you can see at least a vague spot on the ceiling?
A what?
A vague spot, like some vague thing on the ceiling? Vague spot? Very dotted, right? But pick a space, pick a place, and give it any color, imagine it. I told you this was going to be a far out conversation. Now I want you to get present to what's happening in the room. Right now in this room, there are about 40 people looking at spots on the ceiling that don't really exist. They're not there. Now you have to get this because it's a little tricky. Right now, you're seeing a real imaginary spot on the ceiling, don't you? I didn't say there is a real spot there. I said you're really experiencing a real imagined spot on the ceiling. The spot is not real. It's a real imaginary spot, and you're experiencing on the ceiling. Begin to get clear that you are not experiencing that spot in your head. You are not seeing that spot in your eyes. Now, I know it makes no sense that you're not seeing the spot in your eyes or experiencing it in your brain. But by the time we're done, you will really get that. Okay, look back down. Let your imaginary spot go. I know some of you have gotten really fond of it, right? There you go. Stop that conversation. Don't evaluate it, stop it. Now we're going to do the next aspect of the process. Sit up in your seat and get comfortable. Notice what's going on with you and let it go. I want everyone to just be with me for a moment. I want everyone to be with the experience of me. What do I mean by the experience of me? What I mean is fully experiencing being with me without adding anything. There's nothing to do but just to be with me. There. Be with me. Look at me.
Oh,
Be
you
with
can't have
me.
our eyes closed?
Just be with me. No eyes closed.
Oh, I'm
Close.
sorry, I thought we were in a meditation. I'm sorry. Okay.
Be with me. Experience me with nothing about it. Experience me. Experience as experience. There's nothing to do about it, just be with me. I'm inviting you to be with me without anything between you and me. If something comes up between you and me, simply let it go. You and I are going to take a moment and fully experience each other. I'm going to talk a little now. While I just talk, keep experiencing me. You can listen and experience at the same time. Right now, I'm inviting you to look at a particular question. The particular question I'm inviting you to look at is, where is your experience actually happening? Where is your experience actually happening? There's nothing to figure out. The question is, where is your experience actually happening? It's kind of a funny question, isn't it? You're experiencing me as you're experiencing me. You're clearly over there, right? And I'm here. Clearly. That's not what I'm asking. I'm asking, as you experience me, where is your experience of me happening? Before you can answer that question, you have to get something. Here's the first thing I would like you to get. Your experience of me is not happening in your brain. Just look right now. Are you experiencing anything in your brain? I'm inviting you to get that right now, you are not experiencing me anywhere in your brain. How many of you are clear that there is no experience of me in your brain? Keep being with me. The next thing to get is that you're not experiencing me or seeing me in your eyes. Most people have a sense of how the eyes work and how the eyes take in light, and the light travels from the retina to the brain. While that physiology may be at play right now, get clear, there is no experience of me happening in your eyes. There's no experience of me happening in your eyes. the experience of me is not happening in your body. Now, there might be some smart rats that are saying, you experience me in this conversation. Take on that your experience of me doesn't happen in your eyes, not in your brain, not in your body, and not in any conversation. Take another 30 seconds and fully experience me and engage in the question, where is your experience of me happening? Where is it happening? Consider the following. I know, we look like this is ooh. Where your experience of me is happening is not over where you are. Now I know that's a bit weird, right? But how many of you are beginning to get a sense of this? Your experience of me is not over where you are. Okay. Wherever you are is fine. Let it go. If you are really concerned, you're not getting it, let that go. If you're concerned with not getting something or not getting it quite enough, let it go. We're going to take this conversation to the next level. So we're going to have you pair up. So, you, first row goes with the person behind you. You turn your chair around. But before you do that, I'm going to say a few things. But you get the gist of it, right? So you turn around and you're going to have your partner behind you. In a moment, we'll just start that, okay? Before you do that, I want you to know that the only thing you need to do now is follow the instructions and take what you get. Follow the instructions and take what you get. At some point during the process, you will be speaking, and points during the process, you will not be speaking. Let me demonstrate for you how this next part is going to go. And where's Polly? Not here. Okay, Josephine. Want to play with me on that? We can practice it, but we'll do it, right? Okay. Polly and I practice this. Okay. So I am A. You're going to choose A and who's choose. You're going to choose who's A and who's B. I'm A and you're B. Okay. Wolfgang experiences Josephine. Then you say Wolfgang experiences Josephine. Say that.
Wolfgang experiences Josephine.
Okay. Josephine, you say Josephine experiences Wolfgang. Say that.
Josephine experiences Wolfgang.
Josephine experiences Wolfgang. Wolfgang experiences Josephine.
Wolfgang experiences Josephine. Josephine experiences Wolfgang.
Josephine experiences Wolfgang. Wolfgang experiences Josephine.
Wolfgang experiences Josephine.
Josephine experiences Wolfgang.
Josephine experiences Wolfgang.
Josephine experiences Wolfgang. That's what you're going to do. Okay? Thank you.
Okay.
Create a comfortable distance. Then you just sit next to just Kara.
Don't talk yet. Not yet. Stop. Sit in front of each other. Be comfortable. Turn the chair around. Take a moment. First, before you start talking, stop. Before you start talking, get present to your partner.
Get present with your partner. Be present. You'll actually experiencing the other people front of you. Now begin the exercise just like we just demonstrated. So now you say, who's A, who's B? You declare, so the people on the south side of the room are the A's and the north side are B. So,
Whichever.
so start. So you would say, Michael experiences Varda, and Varda says,
Michael experiences Varda.
and then you say,
Varda experiences Michael.
and you just look him in the eyes, right?
Varda experiences
Michael. And then Michael says,
experiences.
go. Now I'm inviting you to fully experience the person in front of you without talking. Experience the person in front of you without talking. Just experience. Whatever is there between you and that person, just experience it. Just keep opening up and fully experience that person. If anything comes up, don't worry about it. Just keep experiencing that person. How many of you are fully experiencing that other person? Wherever you are is fine. We're just in the middle of this process. I want to give you the opportunity to say what's going on. What have you noticed regarding the counterintuitive notion that where experiencing is happening is not in your brain, not in your eyes, or our conversation? What have you noticed regarding that counterintuitive conversation? Okay? Stand up.
What I'm noticing is that there's kind of a frequency that is happening, but I can't, it's nothing that I can put my it's nothing that I can touch, which is my definition of experience.
So a frequency of an energy?
Well, an energy or a frequency, and that it is, there's some kind of an exchange, but again, there's nothing that I can touch. I can say where I feel it more in my body, which is much more in the heart. I feel it in my heart.
So you are feeling it in your body where it's happening? experiences happening in your body?
Well, no, I have a feeling in my body
Okay,
that is that I am used to feeling when I am having an experience of any kind.
got it. Thank you.
But the experience is not in my body.
The experience is not in your body,
No.
but you have something in your body that you experience when you experience it.
I have bodily sensations.
Okay, got it.
It's between, somewhere in the middle. It's somewhere in the middle. I'm not thinking about anything about him, but I'm thinking about something in the middle, and that's what I'm feeling.
You're feeling something about
The sensation is some between,
between. That is
It's not fixed on him.
Yes.
Because I'm not thinking, my brain is not going about who he is and what is, I'm not clearing that off. I'm just being with him.
Yes. Just
That's
being
all I
there.
can.
It's awesome. Great. Yep, Bill?
I'm kind of losing track of who's billing, so.
Okay, you're losing track of who's doing. Yeah, Lydia?
I was thinking circular. It's, kind of rebounding off each other.
Can everybody hear her?
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time standing these days. It's circular, it's like bounding off of it.
Yeah.
Back and forth.
Back and forth, back and
Yeah.
forth. So your experience, you have an experience of, and then that experience goes away and then it comes back.
Yeah, it's just this constant circular motion.
Yeah. Okay. Julia?
Well, it's kind of like, a connectedness, but not like, specific, like a vibration in the space that, is contained, kind of.
Vibration in space. Okay, cool. All right.
I'm experiencing the space between us and also the holiness of each of us.
Holiness of the spirit. Yeah.
I think I was kind of a flop at this exercise or failure or something because I just, I turned around and know who my partner was, and it was Esther, and I know her from being in her group. And my preconceived knowledge of Esther is that I feel a kinship with her, I really admire her, I like her, I feel close to her. I have all these things that I thought about Esther as like my view of her. And so when we started the exercise, I just thought, this is weird, like this is more false than what I really truly already feel about her. It's like not working for me. I feel like a jerk, like this. I didn't, absolutely no breakthrough or anything like that. It was just a whole bunch of all the but throwing up.
A lot of thoughts.
But it was total resistance.
Yeah, Dan?
It's a oneness for me that was immediate and strong and complete, in which sometimes my thoughts ran around and I just went, yeah.
But is it one?
And I didn't even have to work hard to get the thought out because it was, not that it was seductive, but that it was just beautiful to be in that. And that was preferable to thinking.
Yes, would be great. All right, and then there was action.
A sense of effort in to stay in connection.
Effort.
Yeah, just like, it's not so much thoughts, but that because it's an exercise, I'm supposed to do something. I'm supposed to stay looking in Michael's eyes, or in someone's, and so that efforting is creating, it's okay, but there's also a kind of a sense of tension in that.
Okay, got it. Okay, so remember I'm going to say, what I said is what you're going to get into a space of confusion. Like it's not quite clear. It's a little bit confusing. Experiencing someone else is can be kind of confusing. Like, why is this happening to me? Why do I have these notions? What does it mean to have that spirit within me? How come I have silly me and what identify with that? Or whatever is going on in your brain is going on. That's what's going on in your brain. But we're gonna go through a lot of uncertainty. You can desperately try to figure out what's happening or try to explain it. How many of you are going through that? Like you're really trying to explain something, what's going on? I asked the question, right? I asked the question, what is going on? So you try to explain it, right? Yeah. So hang in there, it's going to be awesome. Hang on. Because we're going to move this to the next level. Now we're going to form groups of 4. We managed forming groups of 4 or 3. The 4 of you in the last row work, the 4 of you in the last row work, or 4 of you, 4 of you. You can manage no less than 3, no more than 6. Turn around. Turn around and look at me while I'm giving you the instructions. Look at me. Look at me while I give you instructions. You can do it, right? All right. Cool. After I give you the instructions, this is what's going to happen. You're going to take a moment and first be with one of the people in your group while they are being with you. So you're going to be inside of the group. Each one picks one person that you're going to be with inside of the group. Okay? You all pick one. Select one person and be with each other for a moment. Just now go ahead and select a person and be with that person for a moment. Yeah, you pick one person in the group. After you are with each other for a moment, like Hannah picks Julie, then Hannah picks Nora, then Hannah picks with Monica, and then Monica picks Julie. You just go around. I'm sorry, be present to that experience, Julie. Hannah, Julie. Nora, well, Nora experiences you. And Monica, just look at others. Is it like 3-on-1 or 1-on-1? It's a 1-on-1 and a 1-on-1 and a 1-on-1 and a 1-on-1. We just change around, right? It's not like we stay in the first So the idea is that at the end, you're all connected. You're all with each other. You're really experiencing each other as a group. So every individual is connected to every individual.
So what if you put somebody
You're experiencing her. She doesn't have to experience you back. You're experiencing You're experiencing Heather, while Heather is experiencing Ricky. You're all looking at each other consecutively, so that you're all getting
Go!
So you just experience the people in your group.
Are you going to tell us where?
Yeah, I'll tell you. There's no switching, not necessarily. Just that's it. There. just get to know each other. Like you're all experiencing each other. Not getting to know, but we're all experiencing each other. Everyone is connected anyway. So while you're doing this, how many of you are starting to get that your experience of the people in the group is not happening where your body is? Okay, raise your hands if you do that. You get that? Okay. Just to keep experiencing the other people where they are. So now we're going to complete the process, this aspect of the process. Whatever is happening with you is fine. Now we're going to move to the next phase. Now everyone stand up without talking. Relax your body. If you have anything going on, don't do anything with it, Michael. Take it off. Take a moment and just be with the people in your group as you are now standing. Okay, now you have to talk, right? It's like, okay. Take a moment, just be with the people in the group, and now we want to take it a little further. From where you are right now, without changing your physical location, staying right where you are physically, begin to experience someone outside of the group. Experience someone in another group that's several groups away from you. What works best is to find someone that you can make a connection with. By the way, they don't have to make a connection with you, but it works best if they do. You can obviously experience someone that's not even where you are. So now keep experiencing them. Now notice that an experience of someone else is not where your head is. It's not happening where your eyes are. It's not happening where your body is. Begin to notice that you are actually experiencing someone outside the group, and it's not happening where you are physically located. Now we're going to take it to the next level. How many of you experience your ability to expand your boundary of where your experience is happening? Yeah. Keep experiencing the person outside your group. Even begin to notice causing your experience to expand. Causing your experience to expand. Now we're taking it to a whole other level. Right now, don't figure this out. Just follow my instructions. Experience everyone in the seminar. Experience the sign of the people in the back. Experience the people in the sides of the room. Experience the people to your left. Experience the people to your right. Even fully experience the people behind you that you can't even see. Keep expanding the boundaries of your experience. Experience the people diagonal from you. You can move your head a little bit, but you don't have to move your head. If you can fully experience the people in the room you can't see. Can you fully experience the people in the room that you can't see? Allow the boundary of your experience to include everyone in the room. If you get stopped thinking about this, by thinking about this, give it up. Just follow the instructions, expand the boundary of your experience to include everyone in the room. The instruction is not to think about experiencing people. If you're trying to figure this out, stop trying to figure it out. Experience yourself experiencing everyone in the room. I'll stop talking for 30 seconds and let you get into this. It's okay to move your head or shuffle your feet a little bit. Notice that that your experience of the people in the room is not happening where you are. Now, for some of you, I told you this would get way out there. This is way out there, but don't add significance to it. Don't make it wrong. Just allow yourself to fully experience everyone in the room. Create experiencing everyone in the room. Now see if you can create experiencing everyone in the room, creating experiencing everyone in the room. You see, creating everyone in the room, experiencing everyone in the room. How many of you are actually creating, experiencing everyone in the room? Cool. So without talking, please sit back down. Now we're going to take it way, way out there. This is a real opportunity. Just follow the instructions. I recommend that you close your eyes. I'm going to ask you to do something that doesn't fit in the way you view the world, but if you simply follow the instructions, something remarkable will start to happen for you. What I would like you to consider is that right now, there's someone crossing a boulevard in Paris. Don't worry about how. Just follow the instructions. Right now, see if you can create experiencing that person crossing the boulevard in Paris. Now, you may not know that person. You may not even be sure there is a person there. Create experiencing that person crossing the boulevard in Paris. Now, if you have something going on that this is getting really weird, just let it be. Just create experiencing that person crossing the boulevard in Paris. Great. Now see if you can actually be with that person crossing the boulevard in Paris. How many of you actually created the experience and being with someone crossing the boulevard in Paris? Now we're going to take it out really far. Allow the boundary of your experience to expand all the way out to include all of it. Create experiencing all of it. Create experiencing everything happening in the world. Create experiencing all the people in the world. Create experiencing the whole planet. See if you can move out even farther. Allow the boundary of your experience to include all the galaxies. Expand your boundaries to include everything that has ever happened. Allow yourself to create experiencing all that will ever happen. Take a moment and see what opens up for you if you allow yourself to experience creating all of it. Don't worry about what's going on with you. Just try it on that you can create experiencing all of it. Okay, please open your eyes. Look at the floor. Look at the ceiling. And just be here. Everyone acknowledge yourself for completing the process. And take your chairs back. Some of you may be a little dislocated. Some of you are still crossing seeing that person crossing the boulevard. Experiencing that person crossing the boulevard. Some of you are observing the big man right now. Let's come back here. Out of all of this work, how many of you noticed creating your experience beyond where your head is, where your eyes are, where your body is? How many have noticed creating that experience for that? Whatever you're experiencing right now, I promise you that something happened over where you are. The real impact of the process will be between now and next session, and what it allows for that we can build on. Just stay in the experience, and whatever is happening is fine. Don't try to put language to it. Just be there with it for a bit. Some of you may find it difficult to put words around it. Don't try to think too hard, but let's share what's coming up for you, what has come up for you, and what's there for you. I would avoid conclusions. Don't try to work out what you're going to share. Just share your experience. Would you like to share? Lydia? And then Sylvia?
So, one of the things I noticed when we opened up to the room, the universe was too much, even the lab was too much for me, but just opening up to the room, is I noticed my usual disconnect with people disappeared. And so I started seeing people as individuals and experiencing them as real people with lives and, past features and all that. And that I was observing from over here, but seeing each one as an individual. So it wasn't a group, each I could see each one as an individual. So that's
It was, I'm not judgmental. The people are there. Only people are there. I'm not really I was judgmental.
You were judgmental.
Because if I see somebody, their past and everything, whatever I thought it would come up. But here I was just like, that's all.
That's cool. Anybody else? Sylvia?
I had a really joyful experience. I liked this exercise. And also, I found it very useful because I'm a performer, and that's exactly what I would like to do. I'd like to make that connection as I'm performing, or just before a performance, that sense of that connection, of being in that state of connectedness. And I would love to be in Paris, walking across the boulevard with somebody. And then in my writing, I do have this feeling like in my writing that when I write, I can, whether people have heard it or read it or not, it does have an impact.
Yeah.
And also, the last thing, what was the last thing? It was the last thing. Well, I can't remember the last thing. It was a lot.
That's quite all right. Thank you.
I found myself struggling with the one-on-one and then our smaller group, and really getting, like, it was kind of different. It was difficult for me. I was judging and evaluating everything, thinking we're not doing it right, and what is she thinking, and what does she think of me looking at me? I was having a hard time getting in the space. But then when we started moving out, and our group just shifted, something I felt like shifted for me, maybe that's what it was about. I want to evaluate this and tell you exactly what is happening, what you said not to do. But then it shifted, and then it was great. I mean, I left that last part, and I really was like, before you were even saying, let's make it even bigger, I was like outside the room in the hotel, you know, experiencing everything. But it was really hard in the end to move more intimate to get, you know, there. I mean, for me.
So where was it happening?
The experience?
But the people in the hotel.
Just out there. It was like in the space. It was like we were experiencing it all in here. I felt like very fluid. Like there was just this abyss almost, you know, this fluidity here, and then I just started going out there and bringing it more and more kind of, and then you started saying to go bigger. That was bigger. It was easier. Smaller was harder for me personally. And just just wanted to be judging and evaluating. It took me a while to let go of that.
Well, it shifted a lot from being losing my sense of self. Yes, and self disappeared, like intermittently. And then I would notice, oh, my self has disappeared, and then again, right back to self again, you know, and then commenting and, you know, and just watching my mind, and then in a sense of connectedness, but especially when we moved out to the world, feeling very connected, and a sense of utter, like, connection to the self-real. Like I was the same person as, you know, someone that started with or also being connected to something who is here. And that was a profound thing. That was like, wow, I get to have my experience with my son here. So
Could you see that you created that experience? It's just your son is not here. I think you create the experience.
no, I created the experience of yeah.
So you started to create
Created the, yes, and that there was a sense of creating. And no distinction between you and me, except when my mind got into that, oh, there's that, no, you were me, and then my mind. So it's wanted to interpret what was happening.
One minute each. What opened up for you in the exercise? Go.
We're not outside.